Hello viewers and welcome to our top-notch productions. In today's programs, we will be discussing Fathers of the Nation. We've taken quite a while now talking about Fathers of the Nations because there are certain areas that we feel that we need to demystify for our viewers. Today we want to isolate one instance in Fathers of the Nation and discuss it well. And this is the summit. It is important for our viewers also to understand the summit because every other event in this story or novel revolves around the African Heads of State Summit in Banjul, the Gambia. And therefore it is important for us to set or isolate it and discuss it, and also to connect how that summit brings out the ideas or the themes or the issues that the writer or the author would like to bring across. I would like to say that there's so many things that are connected here, but the author actually set out specifically to ridicule African presidents. In fact, African presidents have been satirized so much in this novel, and that is what we want to discuss and see how this satirization of the African presidents also brings out the themes that the writer or the author would like to put across. Number one is when the president arrives in Banjul, the Gambia, there is someone who is selling some pamphlets written for the 100 eyes only. We are told that this man disappears and has never been traced since his disappearance. Why was the man selling these things, and why has he disappeared? I think this is one of the satirization of the African presidents, that they don't accept freedom of speech or expressions. Their dictatorial tendency is seen here because I think this guy was innocently selling the pamphlet, but he has actually been arrested probably, and we haven't seen him. That tells us the kind of presidents that we have, that you cannot express yourself even if there is something that you need to tell them. That is the one case of satirization in this text. Number two is the feeling by everyone that this summit was a great failure. The summit has failed, and it is in the mouth of everyone that nothing good came out of the summit. It is ridiculous that even the presidents themselves agree that the summit was a failure, and therefore nothing came out of it, but they can only say this off the cuff. That is the second case of satire in the text. The third satire in the text, the presidents actually were very happy when they arrived at the Gambia, because to them they have escaped from the troublemakers from their countries, from their respective countries, and therefore they feel very comfortable, and it is their time to rest. So it rings a bell whether these heads of state or the presidents came to Banjul, the Gambia, to discuss issues that affect Africa, or they simply came for a holiday. So they are being satirized that they have come to Gambia to rest. So there is a way in which the author is trying to satirize the presidents, that sometimes these foreign trips they make don't make a lot of sense, because could be it is their time to rest from the troublemakers back from their countries. Number four case of ridicule or satirization in this text is that when the presidents were about to arrive in Banjul, the Gambia, the bulldozers raced down the slums and even destroyed the kiosks of the citizens of Gambia. And this, in the view of the leadership of Gambia, was to make what we call sidewalks, so that the slums look a little better. And we wonder why a president or a government would raise down the slums, the source of livelihood of their people, just because the heads of state are coming. So it would have been better for them to deal with the issues of slum and actually these informal settlements, so that they have good housing for their people. But raising down the slums and also bringing down the kiosk, the source of livelihood for these people, is not a good thing. But that is what has happened, and the claim is that they are making sidewalks so that the slums look better. So we are asking questions here, and the writer is trying to satirize African president, that sometimes they are very petty. They don't look at the lives of their citizens. Instead, they would rather please the foreign heads of state at the expense of their own people. Number 5 case of satire is when the presidents are now booked at the Pinnacle Hotel, and the security that has been provided for these presidents. We are told that they have brought the internal security and also the army to take care of the presidents. They have been brought in their large numbers. Now, the first case of ridicule or satirization is when we are told that even the army is supposed to protect the country against what we call the external aggression. But they have been also brought here to take care of the security of the presidents. A lot of money has been used to take charge of the security of the presidents. And you are wondering why this is happening in a very poor country, that you bring the army together with the internal security or the police to take care of just 49 at the expense of the total population of the citizenry of Gambia. Satire number 6 is the way these presidents are supposed to be seated. Remember that when they arrive, they're supposed to have a dinner that is organized by the hosting president. But now even the simple thing as sitting becomes a problem. How do we seat our presidents? That there are certain presidents that don't see eye to eye, like the president of Ethiopia and Eritrea. They don't see eye to eye, and therefore, when they are considering the seating arrangement of these presidents, then one of the things that they have to consider is that an Eritrean president and the Ethiopian president cannot sit closer to each other. So even smaller things, very mundane things, actually raise issues instead of discussing serious matters of development or taking care of their citizens. Sometimes the African president engage in simple and mundane things that may not help the citizens. So we are trying to say that this summit, the way it was organized, actually at the end of the day, it was a big flop. It was a failure, because instead of discussing the issues that took them to the Gambia, that did not happen. They ended up looking at very small things at the expense of their people. So small sometimes that even the issues of sleeping, who should sleep maybe at the upper floor and who should sleep on the lower floor. They begin even to think of the Algerian president should actually be up, because Algeria begins with an A, and also the Zimbabwean or Zambian president should be sleeping maybe at the lower floor because of the Z letter, the last letter of the alphabet. So there are small things that may not matter so much for such summits. And again, they are talking about the numbers of delegates that African presidents bring along to accompany them to such summits. Sometimes some bring so many unnecessary at the expense of the taxpayers. So it also brings a challenge. So at this summit, I think they agreed, the Gambia government agreed that each and every president would be allocated 4 more rooms for the delegates that he's walked along or he's come along with. So these are issues that are very mundane, but they're the things that sometimes bring down the development in Africa. So I wanted to make that clarification here about the summit. But there is also the second bit of the summit that I would want to discuss, but in our next episode. That is during the actual 2 days of the summit. What happened? It is also ridiculous. The writer or the author also satirizes what happens on the 2-day discussions of Way Omega and Path Alpha during the summit. So this one is coming in our next episode, and kindly watch. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly do so, because you have so much to present to you. I am Oyuga Zedomolo, a teacher of English and literature and your presenter, and continue supporting our programs because we want to give the best to our students. Thank you very much.